My name is Priya Abani. I work in Alexa voice service. Our broader team has actually put the whole remars together, so it's just been a joy watching the show, and I have myself been enjoying watching the keynotes. This amazing people talking and inspiring us, so it's been great. We're here today right now to talk about Alexa voice service and how to build next generation voice-enabled devices with Alexa. So if you look at the slide, it is a very cute picture of the future we imagined. We invented Alexa by encouraging creative minds inside the company to think about what could be accomplished by combining machine learning, the power of cloud computation, and advanced far-field voice capture and recognition technology. This led to a device that could understand conversational speech and do things for you by simply asking for them. So today, we see Star Trek's ship computer as an example of our North Star, the ultimate vision of what we want to achieve. When the writers of the show made the ship's computer, they had to imagine and create a customer experience. They obviously did it in theory. We got to do it in reality. So anywhere you go on the ship, you could simply say the word computer, and the AI would wake up and answer your questions. And that's our goal for the future of Alexa. Natural and convenient, ever-present and ambient, intelligent, and always learning. In 2014, we introduced the original Amazon Echo. Who in the room actually went ahead and purchased the device in 2014? Wow, okay, you guys are clearly the pioneers. Who in the room purchased the device in 2015? Okay, we kind of, looks like it tapered off in 2015. Hopefully all of you have an Alexa-enabled device right now in your home. When we introduced the original Amazon Echo, this is the first device that allowed people to talk to Alexa in the cloud. For the Star Trek experience, you could even change your wake word to computer. Alexa is only 4 years old, and I actually got to experience Alexa firsthand in the home of a product manager who was working on it as a secret project. And when they called me up and I said, what am I going to be working on? And they said, this thing, you know, it's a voice assistant. And I'm like, is it the Echo and Alexa? I said, yeah, probably. We can't tell you what the job is. I was like, okay, I'm taking it. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to take the job. But again, we're only 4 years old, but in the 4 years, we have continued to add capabilities in the cloud and on the device to improve the customer experience and get closer and closer to our vision. And I think it's working. So today, we have about 100 million plus devices that are being used and loved by customers all over the world. The writers of the sci-fi show had to fake it, as I mentioned before. They had to simulate an experience. We were the lucky ones who got to build it. So we work backwards from our customers in order to build something that's more practical and yet magical for our customers. And then what we got to do in AVS was then to take this magical experience of Alexa and work with many of you in the room. I see a number of our partners in the room here. To then take it to devices that even Amazon does not build, third-party devices. And that's the beauty of the job. So if you are a partner of AVS in any form, please raise your hand. Okay, well, thank you all, and thank you for attending the session, and thank you for coming to the show for us. So to tell you more about how Alexa works, I would like to introduce my colleague, Gagan Luthra. He's the principal product manager at Amazon Alexa. And Gagan has been with AVS since the very beginning and is responsible for leading our product and developer marketing initiatives. Gagan?
Thank you, Priya. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing? So in 2014, we introduced that original Amazon Echo. And these products, the Amazon Echo had Alexa built into it, right? So although we call these products Alexa built-in, of course, Alexa isn't actually built into the device itself. That would take a lot more memory and compute resources than you'd be willing to pay for in an affordable class of devices such as this. So Alexa actually lives in the cloud, and your device merely needs to make that connection to it in the cloud. Now, last time I was here in Las Vegas, it was raining. Asking Alexa for the weather is a common use case that people like to do. So in this case, the user would simply ask, and the far-field microphone arrays built into the device, combined with the advanced voice processing algorithms, would capture the user's voice from across the room from several feet away and send it up to the cloud. And it does so while ignoring background noises like the kitchen sounds, other ambient sounds like music, and so on. This was the first thing that made this experience magical for customers. The next thing that happens is your device takes this captured audio and sends it up to Alexa in the cloud. Now at this point, this is still just an audio clip. Before Alexa can understand what this means, this audio clip needs to be converted into machine understandable text. And this is where Alexa's cloud-based ASR, or automated speech recognition engine, comes into play. In 2019, Alexa can understand over 7 different languages, and even more if you include all the various accents and dialects she can understand. For instance, English spoken by a native British speaker, or somebody in India, or a speaker out of Australia. Now that the question has been converted into text that a machine can understand, comes into play the NLU engine, or the natural language understanding. Now, this is often the hardest part, and that's because we as humans have developed very complex linguistics. The language is not very straightforward. There's virtually a million different ways I could have asked this question. I could ask something more generic, like, Alexa, what's the weather forecast for tomorrow? Or I could ask something more directed and specific, like, Alexa, is it going to rain tomorrow? Or as we often have conversations amongst us, I could even ask something that's a little more obscure and contextual for a machine to understand, like, Alexa, do I need to carry an umbrella tomorrow? Now in this case, the NLU engine takes the text and breaks it down. It first determines that my query has to do something with the weather domain. And then my specific intent is around rain. And in particular, I'd like to know about tomorrow. So in 2019, Alexa's machine learning algorithms continue to improve, as you must have seen glimpses of at the show earlier this week. We continue to add more relevant domains, additional context, the recently announced conversational mode, multi-semantic parsing, and so much more that makes her smarter every day. So now that your NLU has determined what you were trying to ask Alexa for, we can provide the answer. Now in this case, for weather, Alexa has a built-in weather domain. So she can process that request and figure out and tell me what the weather is for tomorrow. But this request could have just as easily been passed on to one of the 90,000 third-party Alexa skills built by developers like you, who have the ability to offer your own products and services through Alexa. For example, today I can ask the Uber or the Lyft skill to call me a taxi ride to the airport. I can even ask Alexa via the Domino's skill to order me a pizza delivered to my house. In the future, perhaps, I'll be able to use the Blue Origin skill to ask for a shuttle ride to the moon or even the Mars. Now, I'm going to wish and hope, but I wouldn't be surprised if we've come across people in this conference that are already working on solving some of those challenges. And finally, once Alexa skills or Alexa domains have figured out the response, it generates additional text, and that text needs to be converted back into an audio clip that is sent back to the device from the cloud and played back as the response to the user. And this is done using the TTS, or the text-to-speech engine. This is the voice of Alexa. Now, to the end customer, this entire transaction appears to happen almost near instantaneously. But as you can see and appreciate, there's a lot of heavy lifting that's actually happening behind the scenes, all in the cloud. And the best thing about Alexa being in the cloud is that she's always getting smarter. And that benefit is being passed down to customers who have an improved experience, new use cases to enjoy with their products that they already own. So if you bought that original Amazon Echo 4 years ago, like some of you did, one day you woke up and Alexa could speak new languages, control new smart home devices, or even play back music from additional music service providers. And all of those capabilities were built in the cloud and passed on to all of those 100 million devices out in the field. Here's a few examples of things that happen in the cloud that have made Alexa smarter over the years. Compound requests. In the past, when I wanted to use Alexa to add things to my shopping list, those would be individual transactions for every single thing I wanted to add. Today, I can do things like, Alexa, add milk, eggs, and bread to my shopping list. I can even do more complicated things like, Alexa, turn down the lights and play music in a single query. And this has been possible due to recent advancements in our semantic parsing algorithms. With features like ESP, or Echo Spatial Perception, we can ensure that in a multi-device environment, much as like I do in my home, I have an Alexa product in virtually every room, and sometimes more than one in a large room. And the last thing you want is these devices to all trigger simultaneously and start talking over each other. ESP is a technology that performs device arbitration in the cloud and figures out which device heard me the best, which is often the one that's closest to me, and only provides a response using that device. We've analyzed the audio frequency characteristics of various types of sounds, like television, media, radio, to figure out that Alexa was spoken by the user and not coming out of another source. You'll notice that if there's a TV commercial about Alexa playing in the background, Alexa no longer misrecognizes that as an intentful call made by somebody in the house and learns how to gracefully ignore it. And with technology like cloud-based wake word verification, there's actually an additional layer of checks and balances that happens in the cloud to make sure that I actually said Alexa meaningfully and wanted to talk to her intentfully and wasn't talking about my new Lexus car or the recent state elections, because these are words that sound awfully similar to Alexa, and the wake word engine that's built into the device has limited memory and compute resources. So sometimes it can have false wakes, but the cloud comes in, does that second layer of checks and balances to ensure a good customer experience. So these are just a few examples of how Alexa is always getting smarter in the cloud. Now, since 2014, when we introduced that original Amazon Echo smart speaker, we've continued to innovate and create additional Alexa devices, like the Echo Plus, the new Echo, even multiple generations of the Echo Dot. We've also created entirely new device categories, like the Echo Show, the Echo Spot, and most recently, the Echo Show 5, which are Alexa devices with screens built into them. We've also created devices that work with Alexa, like the Amazon Basics Smart Plug or the Amazon Basics Microwave. And we're going to continue to innovate on behalf of the customer to create new and compelling use cases and new device categories to solve the customer's needs. But as big as Amazon is, and as creative as we are, we're not going to do this alone. We strongly believe that the broader developer community, many of you who are in the room today, are going to have that next brilliant idea that we never imagined. That's just the way creativity works. And that's why, from the very beginning, we decided to open up Alexa to developers and device makers all over the world. And we did so by creating developer tools that offer you the breadth, the flexibility, and the scale to create your compelling solutions. Be it Alexa skills on top of Alexa to offer your own products and services, like the Uber and Lyft examples that I talked about, or be it your own devices that either work with Alexa or have Alexa built into them. You'll notice on the top here, it's not just about smart speakers anymore. You can find Alexa in virtually every single device category in your home. And even beyond your home, as we begin to take Alexa on the go with products like headphones and wearables, or Alexa at the workplace with products like conferencing devices with Alexa built in. the solutions we have also offer the flexibility to choose your preferred interaction model for your customer experience, to choose the right connectivity protocol for your product, like Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Bluetooth, and so on, and even your choice of platform architecture integration. And finally, with established services like Amazon Web Services, or AWS, and Amazon.com's retail, you have the ability to scale your offerings to a global set of customers. So if you have an idea with a voice-enabled experience for your customer, and you think Alexa can help you get there, chances are you can use one of our off-the-shelf mature solutions to solve that problem for you, so that you can focus on your customer experience and leave all the heavy lifting to do with voice technology to Amazon, because it's a problem that we've already solved for the most part. Now, once device makers figured out how easy it was to create these Alexa devices, we've seen an explosion of products across categories we never even knew existed. Some of my favorites include a smoke alarm with Alexa built in. Now, my home already has smoke alarms in multiple places. The fact that Alexa is built into them and I can just talk to them means I have less clutter of devices around my house occupying unnecessary shelf space. Or how about mesh routers for whole home connectivity with Alexa in every room just an earshot away? That exists too. In fact, all of these products that you see here on the slide today are examples of devices that exist today, and you could go to Amazon.com and pick one up right now. Now let's take a peek into the future of what a slide like this might look like in 2020. At this point, I'm going to hand it back to Priya, who will tell us more about new trends and a glimpse into the future with Alexa. Thank you.
Thank you, Gagan. Sorry. Is anybody losing their voice in Vegas? Yeah, I always like to tell the story after we hit that previous slide that Gagan showed us. On the first year and a half that I joined Amazon, we were focused on smart speakers, and that's all we were focused on. And last January, we decided, or rather we got so much customer demand of why do you not have Alexa in PCs, in hearables, in televisions, in set-top boxes. And the team kind of pivoted and used all the knowledge we had built inside and all the tools that we had built for smart speakers and started looking at all of these different segments. And it's like, it really gives me I feel very proud to always say that we actually now have 200 plus products with Alexa built in the market that can be purchased. And many of the members of the team are sitting here that have helped us achieve that. So it's really, it makes me feel very happy. So now let's talk about what's next. So at Amazon, we're always working on new devices to delight our customers. And we don't know what the developer community, all of you are going to be dreaming of and thinking of, and what customer problems that you're going to be solving. We cannot manufacture every device on the face of this earth. We are very, very aware of this, and we cannot be the only innovative people here. So I think we depend a lot on all of you, and especially in segments like hospitality, in healthcare, and just in new segments where you are the experts and you understand your customers' needs better than us. So let's take a few slides and talk about overall trends that show us all how Alexa is changing and get a glimpse into the future. So truly ambient interface, right? So if you look at the slide, it's got all the right words on it, but it takes a lot to take these words and actually convert them into product features. So we believe that Alexa will become more integrated into everyday life, where device makers like yourselves will be able to easily integrate and build Alexa into their products. You won't see Alexa. In the future, we imagine a world where you won't see Alexa around you. She'll be available whenever you want to talk to her, either through devices that, just go into your plugs, or just invisible, devices that are built into the homes. And we've already seen great examples of products like this. We're seeing light switches. We're seeing thermostats with Alexa built in that disappear into the walls of your home. And as more and more of these devices begin to coexist, our job as Alexa Voice Service is to make sure that there is no confusion in the customer experience when you interact with these different kinds of devices. But the fact also that we want to make these devices aware of each other so that they can be synchronized and give you an experience that is very optimal for what you're asking her to do. And this can, for example, you can create whole home music experiences with no perceptible lag between devices. And there's a demo that we run in our building where we have 5 different devices from different manufacturers, and we say, we turn on the whole home audio kind of a cluster, and music plays across these manufacturers' devices in the most harmonious manner. And these device makers actually did not probably even think about this or even talk to each other about this feature, which has now been enabled by adding Alexa to their product. So this is not, of course, going to stop at your home or your house, right? We want Alexa to be available to you in the car, on your bike. Did anybody get a chance to go to the tech showcase? Did anybody see the bike that is right next to? I'm seeing some heads nodding. I hope you like that. It was just, it was fascinating when our team first came to me and said, we want to build a bike. I'm like, what? And then they said, the next thing coming up, of course, is the helmet. It just goes on, right? It's all very, very exciting. But, when you're walking between the stores, when you're on your bike, in your car, you can always take Alexa with you wherever you go. And hardware innovations are allowing device manufacturers to pack the full Alexa functionality into smaller form factors, and low power and battery power optimizations. And that's another thing that our team is constantly inventing on behalf of the device manufacturers and the customers is how do we optimize the size of Alexa on the device by taking as much as we can from that and move it to the cloud. It helps you save cost, and obviously it helps you put Alexa in more form factors. So the next foil is working smarter, not harder. And these are some of the features that we're really excited to actually share with our ecosystem. So devices won't just be easier to access, they'll also get smarter. Again, both on the cloud and on the client, on the device side. So when your product knows what specific skill to use and where you are and what task you can accomplish by speaking fewer words. So in fact, you might not, at some point in the future, you might not have to speak any words at all. We would just exactly know what your routine is. So like features like routines and hunches, there are more ways than ever to create customer experiences that will not require you to speak a single word. So for example, Alexa hunches will learn your preferred behavior and patterns, and they can preempt them. We can preempt your requests. For example, if I say, Alexa, good night, she might remind me that I did not turn off the lights downstairs, or I left my garage door open, or my music is still playing. And recently we also introduced Alexa guard mode, which means that Alexa can turn off lights and music while you're away, and she can also listen for more interesting things like the sound of breaking glass, and alert you if something isn't right. All of these features don't mean anything if you do not understand how to figure out how to set them up. So we're hyper focused on addressing customer challenges, and we want to develop features and present them to you, so it's a frustration-free setup. I have to say we are far from achieving our North Star there, because we are working with a number of third-party manufacturers, so like bringing up the ecosystem in a way, and then listening to the ecosystem's needs of the customers, like bringing everybody together and getting customers used to the paradigm of voice is going to take time to get it to perfection. But I think we have started off in a really good manner, right? So basically, the most powerful change is the inclusion of other interfaces besides voice. So now you add touch, you add multimodal, you add gestures. All of this is now coming out in devices. People are building devices already. We already have multimodal devices in the market with partners like Lenovo and with Facebook with Portal device. But again, there is now voice, there is a glance of looking at something. At some point there will be gestures. So we believe a picture is worth 1,000 words, and we don't want to stop. We don't want to stop just purely at voice. Friends with benefits. Alexa, open Cortana. What new emails do I have today? I don't know, does anybody in the room have the Facebook portal device? Did anybody? Okay, couple of you have it. So we have two wake words on the portal device. We have, Hey Portal, and we have Alexa. And it is not a surprise. It might surprise you, but we are not the only conversational AI out there. We know that very well. So we predict in the future that people will use different AIs in the same way as I would turn to Gagan and ask for advice on AVS, and I would turn to my sister and ask for advice on my parents, and my husband and ask for advice for my kids, right? So it just depends. So we truly believe that some of these devices will now have dual assistants, and we're already seeing that in the market, as I mentioned. Portal Plus products from Facebook have Alexa built in. Similarly, the Freebox Delta set-top box features have Alexa built in. I think there is a wake word called OK Freebox, correct? So solutions from Amazon, like Alexa for Business, will also allow you to add enterprise-friendly services like Salesforce, Tableau, and more. And you can imagine all the customizations that will potentially happen in the next decade in enterprise when you add voice in the mix. And you will have customizations that the enterprise will have to be doing or will want to be doing. So I can literally see a flurry of companies coming up in that space in the next decade. So we kind of talked about, a lot of things, right? Like what we are doing now, what to expect in 2020. But now that you know how you can build some of these things, did anybody in the room attend the Raspberry Pi? Wow, okay. So we have a few people. Did you guys enjoy the thing? Did you build something? Did your Raspberry Pi thing work? Okay, perfect. That's great. That's good to hear. So we had a workshop, right, with like 150 attendees, and they actually got to build their own little voice device. And we'll tell you more about it for anybody else who wants to do it to like get the geek out in you. So we, as I mentioned before, we've been really hard at work releasing hardware and software development kits that make it easier for device manufacturers to build and release their Alexa devices. So let me just put it very blatantly, bluntly. So you are building an existing consumer electronics device. It could pretty much be anything you can think of. It could be a car, it could be a light bulb, it could be a thermostat, it could be an air purifier, it could be a water purifier. We've heard all kinds of things from, from around the world, and you want to add Alexa to your platform, and you are thinking, how do I go ahead and do that? So all the tools are already available for you on the web, right? So on our portal. So we made it very, very easy to build client-side software by providing device SDKs that complement the cloud-side APIs. And there's a flurry of the types of SDKs and the number of APIs. So a number of our teams, including my team, is constantly adding more and more APIs for you to access directly. And then we've also put out open source software for you to, if you're doing work in C, C++, Linux, to go and use that reference implementation and add Alexa to your platform. Now, if you're building more complicated things with screens, then we have screen-based SDKs as well also available. And we actually have a number of partners now that are shipping in the market with the screen-based SDKs. So we have some validation there, and a lot of that feedback has already been pulled back into the product. So to help the device makers build this, we obviously had to go work with a number of partners in the ecosystem, right? So semiconductor vendors, ODMs, systems integrators, and we've been very fortunate in our selection of our partners and our relationship with our partners, and we're hoping that we open up a lot of new business for them, and together we are learning how to add voice. The initial roads have always been bumpy. Jay is here from LinkPlay, one of our first systems integrator partners, and we definitely, the first 6 months, we had some things to go through together. We also, the security and privacy is a very important thing that we have to really, we take it very seriously at Amazon. So we make sure that there's a number of guidelines that we have put out there that our partners actually imbibe and build into their products, so the customer trust is not lost. And then finally, we also work with companies like ODMs to white label devices. So you can pretty much, somebody in this room today decides to build a smart speaker which is less than $30, BOM or MSRP, and you want to ship it in a country like India. There is a variety of options we put out there on our portal for you. You could go buy one of these devices, work with the ODM directly, put your brand on it, and actually start shipping tomorrow. As long as you get your business agreements taken care of course, which are not trivial, but they are. So, we added about 10 new ABS development kits in 2018, but right now we have about 17 development kits in our portfolio. And as I mentioned before, this is a pivot literally from the last 16 months. So now we have development kits that address new form factors like headphones, screen-based products. That first one is actually my favorite. It's entirely built by my team. They almost build, we have a little code name for it, but it's a screen-based device that takes our SDK, takes a chip that we think would be popular with the ecosystem, and we went through the homework of building this entire device by ourselves to learn all the different pain points that the developers would go through when they build multimodal screen-based devices. And that actually helped us build better tools. It was a feedback loop to our SDK team. It was a feedback loop to our API team. It was a very, very good lesson for us on how to set up our certification and qualification labs. So again, we have worked with, in most cases, we have worked with a range of leading technology providers, and the logos, some of the logos are there. If you're missing some logos, I apologize. I think it's just slide cramming, but I think we got all the big names there. And the objective of supporting these kits again is to simplify your time to market. Our goal is when you decide to add Alexa to your product, we don't want you to spend the traditional semiconductor industry 18 to 36 months to ship a new product. We want you to add voice to your product in less than 6 months if possible, and we now have some examples where we have successfully done that. And then again, to talk back about systems integration. So what has happened is the integrator market has more than tripled in 2018. We have about 14 partners. Some of them are bringing specialized experience in certain areas, specific device categories. Like we have, as I mentioned, we have LinkPlay in the room, we have Braggy, we have Cardinal Peak for hearables. Many of these companies offer technology solutions, but they also offer you design services. How do you build a good app for voice, for adding voice? How do you integrate voice with your existing app? How do you integrate voice with the login with Amazon Flow? So these companies have these technologies, and we have been working very closely with them so that they can pass that knowledge and that learning that we're getting together to our customers. And as we were talking about, these are some of the whitebox solutions and reference designs for PCs, for speakers, for smart home devices. And again, Whitebox, Muriel, who's sitting here, actually helped develop this whole business for us. But Whitebox solutions are market ready. You take them, you work with these vendors. We are actually developing our portal to the level where you can go and we match make you directly with the ODM in our portal if you register as a developer, which is a feature we just added, I think, last week, right? So that we are not even in the way of that. We don't want to be in the way at all. So you can register yourself as a developer, get onto our portal, decide, tell us what device category you want to build in, and you will be able to connect yourself with a number of these ODMs and look at the different solutions, and also systems integrators. So now the next question, which is the question that always comes to us, is how do I ensure that I'm giving my customer a consistent and a quality experience by adding voice? What if the entire experience is so mucked up that I just completely ruin my brand? Or somebody is completely turned off by voice and we all together lost a future customer. So what we offer is product testing, qualification, and certification in-house. And we also work with third-party labs. It seems like a daunting process, but it has actually been simplified beyond words in the last 3 years. We actually started off doing certification by doing manual certification. I always like to tell the story. We had somebody sitting in the room going through every Alexa utterance and then marking yes or no when she said the right answer. And we obviously were very dependent on that human being to do the right marking. And they would not want to work in the night, and on the weekends were taken off. So we actually built robots, and there are some videos out there with me and the robot. It's very funny. So we built robots who could now work 24/7, who would do this testing for us. And we just recently, we are going to now retire the robots because we can actually do the entire qualification process in the cloud. And we have figured out a methodology and a set of tools that we can enable. We will be announcing it very soon. But it just shows how we are inventing. So we went from manual to automation to robotics, now back to complete automation and using some machine learning. So it's just a flow of the way we are thinking on your behalf, right? So our certification programs, of course, raise the bar on responsiveness, reliability, functionality, security, privacy. We ensure that our mutual customers have the best Alexa experience. And then products that incorporate the recommended best practices and meet our security requirements. We just recently announced that they would be eligible for the Amazon Certified Product Badge. And that, if you go on our retail page, and we're watching more and more customers gravitate to that badge, which basically tells them that they trust the product and they and it's a pretty high bar for us. Like, we are not, just dishing that badge out. We're sticking to a bar. So that also opens up the channel to several marketing initiatives that we could do with you as customers. And that includes placement on Amazon storefront and highly visible search results on Amazon.com. So how is the future we imagine beginning to shape up? I have to wear my glasses now, I'm getting old. So in Star Trek, Picard would often ask for his tea, Earl Grey hot. Well, today you can buy a coffee machine that can accomplish something very similar. Manufacturers like Bosch and Hamilton Beach have introduced products that work with Alexa that can brew your favorite cup of coffee by simply asking. In the Jetsons, there were always robotic butlers, cleaners, and other household helpers that kept our home clean and tidy. Who in the room does not want these robots? Okay, good. So today we have products with like robotic vacuums from iRobot that work with Alexa, and even personal robots from companies like Temi. And that's, if you have not gone to the tech showcase, I would highly recommend going in there and finding Temi and their robot with Alexa built in, and how that robot follows you is actually really cute. But these robots are going to help us stay connected with our friends, control our smart home, command our home entertainment system, all of this just by asking. And in the Back to the Future movies, we are shown promises and parodies of future technologies like hoverboards and time-traveling DeLoreans. But we aren't there just as of yet. But virtual and augmented reality glasses have become a reality. Like the Focal smart glasses. This was a trick. Like the Focal smart glasses with Alexa built in that I'm wearing. It's got a control here, and it just actually just informed me that I have a reminder about a meeting with Robert Downey Jr., so I gotta go. But I will stay back just for you. So at Amazon, we had to build these interfaces for voice, especially when we are working with third-party companies. We had to imagine the future, work backwards from customer experiences. Nobody imagined how would Alexa be in a soundbar, how would Alexa be in a PC, how would Alexa be in a headset. And what we are hearing from customers today is that they're loving it, but they want more. Customers always want more. So we have to work together collectively to make those experiences even better and better, so that voice disappears and just becomes a natural habit. Customers trust that if a device has Alexa built in, it's going to be easy to use. And again, this is the reason we invented Alexa. We know that no matter what technology you build, and even if it's the best technology in the world, it isn't impactful if it's not focused on making people's life better and easier. So when you come up with your next idea that nobody ever has invented before, and you want to add a voice, we hope you choose Alexa, and you can use Alexa to make sure it's a great experience for your customers. So as I mentioned before, some lucky attendees at Remars, had a first-hand opportunity to attend our workshop. We have people in the room here, people who are giving the workshop. Please raise your hands. So, there you go. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you for doing the workshop. Are you in the picture? Is anybody in the picture? Okay. Nice. Very good. See, that's a score. Over 100 people in the classroom use Raspberry Pi devices with off-the-shelf components. Again, the focus being off-the-shelf. There's nothing proprietary here. We're not expecting you to go and buy specialized hardware, which you can only use for our product, right? So off-the-shelf Raspberry Pi devices with other components and complete with custom voice command to read inputs and trigger outputs. We hope this inspired some of you at least to build your next idea and convert it into a reality. And we really, really look forward to what you would build in the next year and show us in 2020. So for those of you, this had to come, right? We are customer obsessed. So for those of you who could not attend the workshop in person, what we did is we took the entire training, bundled it up, and it's available as a self-service thing on our developer portal. So hop on over to the AVS tutorials link here and get started on building your next Alexa device today itself. Get your kids to do it, by the way. It's a great exercise to get, the 8 to 15-year-old, maybe the teenagers might not want to do it with you, but 8 to 15 is what I have concluded. It's a great exercise to sit and build something with your kids. And thank you so much for attending. Few of us will be available to take any questions beneath the stage after this, but really hope you enjoy the show, and we'll see you again next year. Thank you.